Hey guys, we have a new week of energy to get into. This week could be just a more tense, conflict-oriented week. We could see some kind of powerful forces coming to a head, ego trips. We could feel like there is some type of force or pressure being exerted on us, but this week is likely to show us what's not working. Things could be breaking down this week. Relationships could be breaking down this week. Our old concepts and ideas about things could be breaking down this week, and the consequence of these breakdowns is likely to be some type of powerful but necessary and productive transformation. Three main things I'm looking at in the energy this week. As we start the week, we have a real powerful 29-degree critical degree cardinal square playing out between the sun and Pluto. This is what could have us sort of in that vice or in the crosshairs, or just feeling like we need to make a breakthrough in one capacity or another, bringing things to a head. As we move through the week following this square, the sun will leave the sign of Libra, enter the sign of Scorpio. This is tipping things even more energetically into like the Scorpio bucket. Scorpionic energy is super strong and potent right now. We are all like psychic spies out there this week in the energy, problem solving, digging for truth or anything, looking for solutions, trying to get to the core of things. It's likely to be a very enlightening week, but we could really be finding ourselves quite obsessed or like going down some rabbit hole in terms of like trying to figure something out. The third thing that we have playing out is actually a combination of two water sign trines that I'm looking at. Early part of the week, we have a water sign trine going on between Saturn, Mercury, and the moon. This is assisting us with some of that critical thinking that we might be sort of driven towards this week. As we move through the week, we've got a water sign trine coming in between Mars and Neptune, and Mercury also makes his way into that trine as well. We want to be careful as we get towards the end of the week that we are not getting kind of caught up in some self-delusion or like on some power trip or something like that. A lot of people will be. A lot of people are going to be drinking their own Kool-Aid and very much like drunk on their own power, and as a result, they may become quite vulnerable or susceptible to like mistakes and slip-ups and stuff like that. So we don't want to get caught in that booby trap as we move through the end of the week and into the weekend. But overall, you guys, it is looking like this is a week where we're going to be figuring some things out, maybe solving some problems, getting to the bottom of some things, and big transformations are on the table. Big power plays could be going on as well. All that being said, you guys, clearly we got a lot to talk about. Let's get into our report of the day. Let's put it all together, see what's going on in like some more detail as we move through our week, and specifically what things are looking like for us as we open our week and move through the energy of Monday and Tuesday. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, October 21st, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. That's going to happen at the end. We're going to start at the beginning with the astrology, and we're picking up where we left off in our last video, actually, where I was talking about how it probably was a pretty positive weekend. We had some kind of nice energy going on over the weekend. The moon was transiting through Taurus and then through Gemini, kind of helping to balance and counteract some of that very intense, deep, complex, like Scorpio stuff that we've been navigating and moving through and we've had going on last week, and we're moving more into this week. But on Monday, as we're getting this started now, we need to remember we are in this backdrop right now, which I've been talking about, in my last video. You know, was kind of present for the full moon in Aries that we had before that. We've got Mars and Pluto building into an opposition with each other right now in cardinal signs. You know, Pluto is at the very last critical degree of the sign of Capricorn right now, wrapping up a 250-year, wrapping up a transit that's been going on for the past 16 years, but also that will not happen again for another like 250 years. So we've got two concurrent cycles of time that are closing out simultaneously as Pluto prepares to exit the sign of Capricorn and enter the sign of Aquarius, which is coming November 18th. I believe it's the 18th or the 19th. I can't remember exactly. I think it's the 18th, which is funny because it's actually 18 minutes on the clock right now on my camera. So I think maybe it's the 18th. But we're in just like this very interesting period of time right now where Pluto, which is a generational energy, takes Pluto a very long time, you know, over a decade to transit one sign of the zodiac, and it really marks and represents the different generations that we go through when Pluto's in a different sign. We're coming out of the Pluto and Capricorn generation right now, preparing to enter a Pluto and Aquarius generation, which is another energy that we haven't had in 250 years. It takes approximately 250 years for Pluto to transit the entire zodiac. So when we're talking about a Pluto transit, we're talking about something that happens for, you know, a set period of time. In this case, 16 years that Pluto was in the sign of Capricorn, 2008 to 2004. But now that we've had that transit, we're not going to have that again for another 250 years. Meanwhile, this new Pluto Aquarius energy that we're moving into now, we haven't had, therefore, in 250 years. And this will be another, I think it's like 18 or 20 year dose of generational energy brought to us by Pluto transiting a sign, this time transiting the sign of Aquarius, which, if we pull it out and look at our unfolding entire cosmic story right now, I personally am perceiving this as kind of like our true entrance into the age of Aquarius, as I think this 20-year Pluto Aquarius transit is going to root the Aquarian energy to like our physical reality, because Pluto rules the roots and the underworld and like the true power source. And as Pluto transits through Aquarius, the Aquarian energy archetypes, everything associated with the sign and what it represents, that is where the power is going to be. Just as in this energy that we're coming out of now, the 16-year Pluto Capricorn transit, everything represented by the Capricorn energy, that is where the power has been held, and the things in alignment with that have been benefiting and able to hold and gain power, okay, throughout that period of time. Whatever sign Pluto is transiting is where the power is held and where like power gravitates and like magnetizes itself towards. Okay, so therefore, as we shift and we go through this huge energetic shift that's coming up here in this next couple of weeks, it's really, really, really going to alter our experience over the next 20 years, which, you know, that happens. Each generation is, you know, pretty fundamentally different, and it has a lot to do with Pluto's placement. So anyways, that's its whole long tangent that I did not mean to go off on right then, but I guess I'm just trying to kind of drive home the extent to which we're in a powerful period of time right now, major things wrapping themselves up, major energy of endings. In fact, we also, if you guys have been following the astrology or following my channel, know that this Libra new moon cycle that we're in and of itself, it was a south node solar eclipse, indicating a period of time, not only this Libra new moon cycle, like Libra new moon through to Scorpio new moon, but also this particular eclipse that just happened through to the eclipse cycle that will come next spring. This energy has to do with like a cycle about endings, a cycle like the beginning of the end, or not necessarily the beginning of the end, but an energy that is initiating like a final breakdown or a final collapse in some way. We're at a major transition point right now in our overall collective human story, cosmic story, and we are probably really, really going to see major indications of that manifest in the world around us as we move through this energetic window that we are in now, between now and November 18th. Like I said, I think it is when Pluto re-enters the sign of Aquarius. Pluto has already dipped his toe into Aquarius, but re-enters the sign of Aquarius to formally get that transit going. Once Pluto enters Aquarius this time, he will not be going back into Capricorn. He will be moving forward through and really beginning the transit of Pluto through the sign of Aquarius. Anyways, all that being said, and the reason why I really brought all that up is because the energy in the chart this week and all that we have going on is quite reflective of that greater overall theme, okay, by this very, very heavy scorpionic energy that we have coming through right now, which Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. It's also ruled by Mars. Mars and Pluto are in a building opposition right now. Like the Scorpio energy is kind of what everything is hanging on. There's just like this vibration of it, like resonating through everything right now. And Scorpio is the energy of like death and rebirth, right? Like purge, regeneration, purification, but ultimately for rebirth, transformation, renewal. So from every energetic viewpoint that I'm perceiving it through right now, everything, like every arrow is like blinking red in the same direction. And it's just like, we've got to let things go. We've got to release some things. Things have come to the end in some capacity, purge, regeneration, transformation, but it's also coming through some type of an awakening, enlightenment, awareness, like seeing behind the curtain, like seeing the gears in the machine, looking under the hood. We are super, super, super energetically oriented right now, you guys, to get to the truth. Like we are all psychic spies out there. We are all psychic detectives in the energy this week. Things are likely to be very emotionally driven. I will tell you that. Again, we've got a lot of water sign. We've got 2 separate water sign trines playing out. One of them featuring Mars, again, in this building opposition to Pluto right now. A lot of the personal transformations that are happening are going to be facilitated through some type of like emotional release or emotional experience or something that happens or comes up that hits us on an emotional level that like allows us to shift, change, purge. This could be very like cathartic energy going on. And also a lot of people are probably not going to be responding like super, super well to it. As I said, between now and November, right, mid-November, when Pluto re-enters the sign of Aquarius, enters Aquarius once and for all for this next transit, Aquarius-Pluto transit, things related to power in all of its forms are probably just going to be more prominent somehow on an individual level, like our relationship to power and the things in our external world that we feel like exert power upon us for better or worse, what is and what isn't working to sort of like power us up, or various areas of our lives, like power sources themselves. There could also be, when we have Pluto Sun square, that can also a lot of times bring like literal breakdowns with things like mechanical malfunctions. We could also have some communication blockages or something like that happens because the sun is in an air sign and we have Pluto, of course, in Capricorn. There could be with the sun in Libra as well, this could be like banking and financial situations that are going on or coming to a head. There could be things also like coming to a head, or power struggles having to deal with deals or agreements or negotiations, legal outcomes about stuff. We could really see various like oppositional forces sort of vying for power over certain situations. So this is the type of thing, okay, that is likely to be very kind of like prominent and dominant, maybe like in the news, in the media, on a world stage type of level, in our own personal lives as we move through this week and as we move through this next period of time up through that mid-November point. But we also, as I said, this week have some very strong problem-solving energy that is coming through to really help us actually, on one hand, resolve maybe some of these issues that have been lingering from the past. But on the other hand, a lot of people, you know how they say, what's that saying? Power corrupts. I can't think of the rest of it or how it goes right now, but the concept here is that I think that a lot of people also, especially as we get towards the end of the week, could find themselves caught up in some type of power trip, some type of state of personal delusion where they're like overexerting perhaps their own power in some type of a way that is ultimately, you know, could backfire or be kind of like self-sabotaging or personally detrimental. So we really want to make sure, as I mentioned in my intro, especially as we get towards the end of the week, that we are not letting things get to our head, that we are not getting caught up sort of like in our own, like drinking our own Kool-Aid, you know what I mean? And perhaps creating vulnerabilities, making ourselves vulnerable to some mistake or to some just like I don't know, slip up or something that does not move us in the direction that we were hoping for, and perhaps shows us maybe where we're not as powerful as we thought we were. Again, power in all of its forms, okay? If we take things a little too far, we might get a snapback showing us maybe we're not as far along as we thought we were, like that type of thing. And that can also be applied, and I'll talk about this more as we get through the report, but it's also create, like that very energy is also creating opportunity for us to maybe move things in the direction that we want to move them in as well, through other people kind of like acting a fool or making a mistake or not being strategic. That creates an opening for, you know, some other type of action to take place. Okay, so we'll talk about that more as we get into the report. I do want to like go way back actually though to where I was when I started talking a while ago, before I just like totally went off on a bunch of tangents about Pluto and generations and all of that. I wanted to start this report by saying that Monday, actually, we are kind of, I feel like, hitting the ground running on a pretty positive, optimistic note. Monday has definitely some high hopes or some good luck or some positive things happening for us as we open the week on Monday. We still have that moon transiting the sign of Gemini. And it's in a conjunction with Jupiter, who recently stationed retrograde in Gemini. So we could be getting some big news, some good news. We could, especially, it's probably pertaining to things from the past. We've got Mercury right now ruling the position of the moon and Jupiter in their conjunction on Monday in a very tight trine to Saturn and Pisces and water signs that will come exact on Tuesday. With Mercury ruling the position of the moon and Jupiter, there could be some, and Mercury is trining Saturn retrograde. That is gaining insight from the past. Jupiter is retrograde with the moon. That is also coming to understand something from the past. So there's likely to be some things that are clearing themselves up for us, perhaps in the energy of Monday. A message, a piece of information, gaining some insight, having a conversation that maybe brings up or touches on something from the past that didn't ever make sense to us, or that we were lacking, you know, some perspective on or something. We could be just figuring something out, okay? Like that is really what I feel like could be happening on Wednesday. But whatever it is, it's probably kind of uplifting, or at least helping to expand our mind, maybe make us feel a little bit better about something. Generally positive attitudes, I feel like, are going on as well on Monday, despite all of the mounting pressure that is also simultaneously out there. Remember, we do have this backdrop of these cardinal squares and oppositions with Pluto and Mars and the Sun going on right now. And Tuesday is the 22nd, actually, is the day, which we'll start talking about in a minute, where we have an exact Sun-Pluto square, which, as I've already discussed, is quite a contentious, confrontational, like just conflict-oriented, tense type of energy. So we've got that going on out there. Obviously, you know, people are going to be dealing with all of that, but I do think that this Jupiter moon situation going on Monday is going to have us seeing the glass as a bit half full, despite perhaps whatever like monkey we're trying to get off of our back or something like that. Okay. It's also probably a busy start to the week with the emphasis on the Gemini energy, a lot going on, very communicative as well. People definitely have a lot to say. Whenever we have a moon-Jupiter conjunction, Jupiter is a planet of expansion. It supersizes things. The moon is our emotions. And when it's happening in the sign of Gemini as well, like this is communication, right? So people could really be sharing some of their feelings. A lot of people could have a lot to say, abundantly expressing what's going on inside of them, how they think about things, their inner world, their feelings generally. So there could be kind of like a bit of an overflow of emotions, or just verbalizing things coming out. People got a lot to say. But again, this plays right into the fact that we may also be learning a lot. So you could find yourself caught up in a conversation with somebody about something where they're just letting something out, getting something off their chest, and inadvertently provide you with a piece of information, or, you know, just you hear something that clicks, or advice or something that can really benefit you personally somehow. We have to, again, bring in the Scorpio vibe also that's associated with this, though. We're talking about a Moon Jupiter conjunction in Gemini. Gemini ruled by Mercury, Mercury in Scorpio, in a very tight trine to Saturn. So we are like, again, whatever piece of information that maybe we're getting, it could be like a missing puzzle piece, or it could be like shining a light on something that's been hidden. Like it could be like a secret that's revealed somehow, or some type of revelation. It could, you know, some type of an enlightenment that we are gaining, or again, just like a missing piece of something. X-ray vision is so strong in the energy right now. Like I said, we have super psychic energy this week. Not only do we have all the Scorpio energy going on generally, Mercury, the Sun, Mars, and Pluto in opposition. It's a very strong scorpionic vibe right now, but with all these water sign trines as well, and like Mercury trining Saturn, that is like, you cannot get anything by us. That is like, oh, we see the fine print, we see the details, we've gone through it with a fine tooth comb, like it's under the microscope, and we're not even trying. That's just the way that we're perceiving the information. We're catching everything. And with the just the water element, the plutonic element, like it's not even just what we're like logically coming to our mind. The gut feeling and the ability to like connect dots and to like legitimately like just be psychically attuned to things in a way that is very beneficial and supportive, the trine, to that which we're trying to figure out. Like this is the trine energy, the gut instincts, the gut feelings, facilitating and supporting our ability to figure things out, solve the problem, get to the root of it, get to a solution. If you've been looking, like if you've been needing to find a remedy for something, if you've been needing to fix something, like if you've been needing to like solve a problem at its core root level, this is the week that you want to go like seek out whatever that remedy could be. Look for the answer, look for the truth, because you're going to find it. We find what we're looking for, especially again, if we're like intuitively called to it, or if you're like trusting your gut as a part of whatever, like wherever you're being guided to find the information. And if nothing else, as a result of that, this week is likely to be very informative and probably also transformative, therefore, too, in a lot of ways. So that's kind of where I feel like we're at on Monday. Like we do have a broader perspective, a bigger, you know, kind of elevated viewpoint on things. And we're probably more glass full oriented. Now, as we move into the energy of Tuesday, this is, you know, we've got a cardinal square going on again at 29 degrees. That's any 29 degrees of any sign. It's known as like a critical degree. Very powerful degree of that sign, really condenses the energy of that sign. When we're talking about a 29 degree square between two planets at any signs, this is really going to be like the full force of the energy of that sign on display in the context of whatever conflict is going on between these two planets. And then when we're talking about a 29 degree square between the sun, obviously that's the life force energy. That's like our source of vitality, you know, the character, the spirit, the essence, the will. And then we're talking about this, and you know, it's the light also. And then we're talking about Pluto, which would be the darkness, the lord of the underworld, again, power in all of its forms, this very transformative energy, and like death and rebirth. We're talking about the life force energy represented by the sun, that which makes things grow and thrive, and the regenerative force represented by Pluto, you know, the fall, and that which brings things to their knees so they can be regenerated and transformed. Okay, so we've got two very polarized forces coming into a 90-degree angle with each other. Squares, of course, bring a conflict that requires a resolution. The signs of Libra, of course, this is justice, this is balance, this has to do with money and finances, this has to do with relationships and love. And then we're talking also about Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. This is the old established ways of things. This is where the power has been held. This is the foundational like paradigm within which, okay, those Libra energies have been manifesting. So we're talking about sort of like a systemic breakdown that is necessary in order for things to be rebalanced and essentially like cleaned up so that they can grow properly. Things have been, going on the same way for a very long period of time right now, and it's looked as though very little has been changing under the surface of things. Actually, a lot's been changing over the course of the next 20 years. That is going to become very radically apparent to us. And as we move through the energy of this week, and again, like this next couple of weeks, we are lifting up the hood and uncovering the stones and like seeing behind the curtains and all types of ways with this real strong scorpionic energy that we have going on, that is like moving us in that direction, that is bringing us to the point where we're going to really start making some progress in the context of true change. Okay, that is what we're moving towards. That's where all of this is heading. So insights, disclosures, breakdowns, breakthroughs, transformations, very likely in the energy this week. Sun square Pluto, a little bit more specific about this aspect. This can generally bring up situations where we have to encounter or we have to oppose powerful pressures or forces exerted upon us, both from inside of us and from the world around us. We may find ourselves feeling or being very much tested in this energy, forced to acknowledge or make a change in terms of what's not working for us. That is a tendency of how this, or that is a tendency of how this energy operates on a lot of occasions. It will show us, what is not working, where we're just like banging our head against a wall and nothing is happening, and bringing us to the point where like, oh, okay, I'm going to stop doing this. And because of actually the water trine that is happening right now as well with Mercury and Saturn, because I have the solution and now I'm going to do this. And this that we're going to start doing instead of that is going to be very productive and very helpful to us in both releasing us from the past and moving us toward the future. We may feel, again, therefore, like we have to acknowledge or take accountability for something that we are realizing in this energy like just isn't working. The most productive use of this energy, therefore, is to let go of old patterns of behavior that the events that we're experiencing right now are demonstrating to us are just not working for us, are just not doing what we need them to do. Deciding to make a positive personal change is the highest octave use of this energy, okay? A powerful sense of having purged something from your life can also often come whenever we've got a Sun square Pluto, and it's going to be intense right now, you guys, because Mars is also in opposition, and because this is happening at 29 degrees of cardinal signs, and because this is the last Pluto Capricorn 29 degree energy for 250 years. So it's like, it's serious, okay? Like, it's serious. And again, Mercury trining Saturn, like, it's serious. Like, we're taking it seriously. Like, this is the real deal. Like, things that have been needing to change and that just haven't changed, and that, we maybe lost hope whatever would change, like, this is when that change is likely to just happen, because 29 degrees of Capricorn, like, the things from the past that no longer fit with the template of what we're moving into now, they just cannot continue to, there's no power supporting them anymore, okay, as we move forward. Now, Mars building into the opposition with Pluto while the Sun is in the square to Pluto, we are being pushed to personally purge, to personally transition, to personally transform. Mars rules the self. This is aspects of ourselves, aspects of our behavior, aspects of our own ego that really we could be coming up against. This could be a very internalized conflict that we've got going on right now as well, where we have to overcome dimensions of ourselves that have been holding us back in order to actually be re-empowered to become so much more than maybe we've ever given ourselves credit for or knew that we could even become. That's another flip side of this awakening right now. And the whole thing with the power is like figuring out, how powerful we really are, like awakening to the truth of our potential and no longer being in a place where we're going to deny or betray or sabotage ourselves in order, sign of Libra, right, to appease other people. Powerful relationship breakdowns are happening right now also. These could be very long-term things that we've been committed to, invested in, okay, that cannot continue to go on also. Relationships, commitments, investments, like financial enmeshments and ties and stuff like that. Also issues with like codependency and toxic relationships, addictions as well. These are all the things that are probably like rearing their ugly heads right now in order. So actually we can make a breakthrough. We can stop being enslaved to something. We can take power back, and we can actually use it to fuel another dimension of power, to power our transformation into whatever new phase of growth, new era of our lives is simultaneously being birthed right now. Yes, this is the end, this is the death, this is a destruction, and we're probably seeing those themes play out in spades all over around us too, but it is also the beginning, the birth, the emergence. So things are falling away, but there are shiny new treasures that are also coming online right now. And these are actually going to be, honestly, at the end of the day, like so much more fulfilling to us somehow, because they're going to be so much more authentically aligned with us. This is the death of anything inauthentic. And as Pluto transits Aquarius over the course of the next 20 years, that will also be a 20-year period. That is the death of anything that is not real and not authentic. So we're moving in that direction, and therefore anywhere that you can orient yourself in alignment with those vibes, anywhere you can say, hey universe, I see what you're doing and I'm on board. I am also going to purge. I'm going to choose to purge everything that has been attaching me to that old world or that old version or that old perception of myself that is out of alignment with your view of me and your vision of me and your plan for my life and the destiny like associated with that, and the, you know, soul experiences that I chose when I came into this world. I'm ready to embrace that, and I am going to consciously choose to release myself from everything that I perceive at this point to still be blocking me from that, keeping me detached from that, or from myself, or from a greater alignment with myself. This is what we're doing. You know what I mean? Anywhere we can choose to change, okay, this is going to be very supported in the energy this week, and it'll probably be easier than if we fight the process right now and like try to grip on and hold on to everything, especially from things from the past. Like that's when we're probably gonna, you know, experience the just more powerfully intense, like cathartic, you know, all that type of stuff goes on. Possessiveness, like all that type of stuff. Okay, when we've got strong Scorpio energy, and although it may not be like the favorite experience, it's very important, it's very necessary, and there are huge, you guys, lessons that are coming from this with Jupiter retrograding in Gemini right now and Mercury in the sign of Scorpio, and like all of this whole story. Okay, so we may be coming up against ourselves. This could also, of course, represent contention with authority, or like forces that exert power on us in our lives or in our external realities. Again, clashes of wills. Power struggle is very much indicated here. Calls for accountability. Again, like people could also be really looking into things, sort of details, facts, information, going through things with sort of a fine-tooth comb. And especially, you know, as we get, as I said, more through and into our week and closer to the weekend. And I'll be talking about this as obviously we get into later in the week in our weekend video. But I'm telling you guys, all week, things to do with power, people wielding power, using power, abusing power, Mars building into opposition with Pluto, while we've got the sun an exact square to Pluto in cardinal signs. All of this Scorpio energy, the sun then dips into Scorpio, and later this week, as I said, we have another water trine going on with Mars and Neptune coming into exact trine, and Mercury in Scorpio by that point will actually have made his way within range of that trine as well. So we're going from a Mercury Saturn retrograde moon trine, which is what we have playing out in the energy of Tuesday, along with our sun on Pluto square, Mars trine Neptune, and actually Pluto's in there too. We have Mars trining Neptune, but Pluto in the end of Capricorn is in a sextile to Neptune. So we've got Neptune hitting both Mars and Pluto while they're in their building opposition with the sun and square, all this Scorpio energy. I'm telling you, you guys, there with the Neptune, okay, with the Neptune Mars Cancer energy and the opposition to Pluto, people are going to be drunk on power, self-delusion. Mars is the self, Mars is the ego, Neptune is illusions and delusions. This is a trine in water sign, feelings that are facilitating some type of personal delusion of grandeur, of power, of like being in control somehow, and like needing again to wield or to use or to exert that control, perhaps in some very delusional, like separated from reality type of way. Okay, this could really be something that we're seeing, and we really want to make sure that we are not kind of like falling under that spell or falling prey to that some way, because this level of self-delusion, okay, with the retrograde energy, Neptune retrograde, Saturn retrograde, Jupiter retrograde, Mercury in Scorpio, it's likely to result in some type of critical error or like error in a judgment call that has some type of self-sabotaging or like personally destructive impact with Pluto and Mars in opposition. Okay, so be strategic all week. All right, we want to wait for the right timing to make our move on things. Again, a lot of people are going to be slipping up. A lot of people are going to be getting so caught up in their feelings of being in power and or just like being, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to be caught up in their feelings of self like delusion or self something or other about. Okay, but there's just a greater than normal likelihood that people are going to be, again, it just makes me think of like drinking their own Kool-Aid, you know what I mean? And therefore unable to see their own weakness or their own vulnerability or their own like chink in the armor, you know what I mean? Which therefore, on the flip side of that, is going to present opportunities for people that are operating out of different octaves in this energy to kind of get an in where they may not normally have had that opportunity, you know what I mean? So, we do our best, okay, to self-check, I think is a good thing to say in this energy. People are going to be slipping up. If you pay attention, you could find an opening or a vulnerability to move things in your favor, but we are not immune to this, right? We could also easily fall under this spell ourselves. And so we just want to be careful thinking that we are holding all the cards in a situation, that we have all the power for some reason and acting accordingly, because that in and of itself could be setting us up to experience some type of vulnerability. And again, with Pluto and Mars in opposition, Mars in trine to Neptune, retrograding in Pisces, Neptune breaks things down, it erodes things, it is not... the actions that we're taking in this energy are not going to come to anything. When we have this Mars, and we'll talk about it more as we get through the week, but when we have Mars in a trine to Neptune and in opposition to Pluto, especially anything like shady or underhanded or what we're trying to get away with based on maybe this like delusional sense of self-empowerment or something like that, it's just not going to work out. It's not going to come to anything, and the blowback is likely to leave us sort of sitting in a puddle on the floor. Okay, so just something to keep in mind as we're moving through the week. And again, the flip side of that is openings being created for opportunities to figure things out, to find things out, and to use wisdom through experience to make like practical choices and decisions in alignment with the goals and the trajectory of growth, okay, and transformation that we are personally like moving ourselves towards now, in alignment with like this higher calling or this higher knowing or this intuitive inward knowing of kind of just like the direction that we need to be going in. Okay, so we want to listen to our gut as we move through the course of the week. We also want to do our best to think about the patterns of things, okay? Pattern recognition could be a very beneficial tool as we're moving through the week as well. There could be some true self-empowerment that could be gained through our ability to observe, act in accordance with, and like apply understanding of various patterns that we find playing out in situations and, you know, energy, people, whatever that's going on around us. Long-standing injustices are likely to be a theme that is seeking resolution, could be part of the reason why things are coming to a head this week as well. As I mentioned earlier, another thing, you know, briefly bring back up all types of breakdowns. We've got a Sun Pluto. This is notorious for like mechanical failure, engine failure, because the thing that powers the thing, you know what I mean? Whether it's you're talking about a car, you're talking about like the engine or whatever you're talking about, whatever is the thing that powers the thing, that thing can have a tendency of malfunctioning more readily when we've got a Sun Pluto square going on. Also, things that have a tendency of not functioning smoothly, not running well, things that like generally give us issues when we've got this type of energy going on, they are likely to be acting up. Okay, so anything that, you know, acts up here and there or can give you issues in this energy, it may be more so of an issue, but it's because, what is it because of? It's because this is the energy that wants us to fix things. So things that have been needed to be fixed that maybe we've been neglecting because sometimes they work and, you know, sometimes they don't, and we just hope for the best with them. This could be a time where we have no choice for whatever reason, but to actually like address the situation, resolve the situation, or like mechanically fix the problem. However, this water sign trine with Mercury and the moon and Saturn that we have playing out on Tuesday alongside the Sun Pluto square is helping us with that. Saturn, this is about the refined, like precise Mercury in the trine information. With Mercury and the moon in trine, there's a true fusion between our emotions and our feelings, and the moon in the sign of Cancer as well. This is a very strong lunar placement and what we're thinking about, why this is such a psychically oriented week. And then when we put it with the third prong of the water sign trine, Saturn retrograding, we can figure out why things are not working, why things are breaking down. Saturn retrograding in Pisces is like the breakdown. I've been talking about that for a while now, approximately since Saturn went retrograding in Pisces, how this energy indicates like deconstruction, breakdown, like things from the past also that need to be reworked somehow. So we've got a very good aptitude to figure that out and get to it. So if things are breaking down, if there are issues that need to be addressed this week, we are also being supported with a greater than normal aptitude to be able to figure it out, to fix it, to solve it, to do that, resolving long-standing issues that can't continue to persist, purging what's not been working internally and externally, and life-changing information, mental breakthroughs likely to come from this. It's interesting as well, just to mention a couple of Sabian symbols that we have playing out on Tuesday, which was the chart that I'm looking at for our video right now. As I said, Monday, we have just some more of this. Really, it's Jupiter and the moon there kind of uplifting us. The moon in the end of Gemini is also forming a trine to the sun in Libra, so more harmonious energy kind of getting us started on the week, but then we sort of like hit that red line kind of maybe in the energy on Tuesday, and so that's the chart that I'm looking at. Tuesday, we have the sun, as I mentioned, at 29 degrees of Libra. The Sabian symbol associated with that degree is 3 mounds of knowledge on a philosopher's head. And then Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn in that exact square, a secret meeting of men responsible for world affairs. So again, like we're figuring it out. We're seeing there's 3 mounds of knowledge. Like we're seeing like all the perspectives and all the dimensions, the complexity, the layers, what's been going on under the surface. Again, like the gears in the machine. And we're just getting the information. We're figuring it out. We're gaining the understanding. This in and of itself could be bringing up some type of inherent conflict or power struggle or issue, but it's got to happen because there's got to be this breakthrough in order to actually release us from something that's blocking us from doing something that universe wants us to do right now, because It is all about growth, slingshotting us forward as we prepare to enter this Aquarius generation that we are on the brink of coming up here over this next couple weeks. So that's what I'm going to say, you guys, about the astrology for today. And there's a lot of it, of course, just intense times, powerful times, significant times, meaningful times, functional times, all of the things. So if your experiences out there or are reflecting it, there are good reasons why. Let's talk about the tarot. This is going to be a pretty quick reading that we've got going on here today. The main message that I feel like is coming through here is, despite, again, like maybe some like blows to our ego, or perhaps some criticism or some rejection that could be going on, we need to keep ourselves filled up and like operating from like a deeper understanding, or like an inner power and inner drive and inner motivation that is moving us forward, that is not allowing us to give up. We need to remember the goal. We need to remember what we're working towards and why we're working towards it. We need to align ourselves with a process of essentially like self-mastery that is propelling us forward right now in one area of our lives or another. And we need to kind of like allow that to be what is giving us hope, or at least like motivating us to continue to put one foot in front of another. The cards that we have coming out, we have the Sun in reverse. We've got the Knight of Cups and the Nine of Wands. Like this combination, it's like, again, maybe some type of like ego wound, or like feeling rejected, or feeling like having some type of criticism or something, like just generally maybe something like dampening out our light a little bit, which could be, you know, the Pluto square. We're literally talking about the sun and the square of Pluto, like something that could just be raining on our parade a little bit. But it's talking about, I mean, we're talking about a Knight of Cups. This is a messenger bringing some type of offer. This is a delivery of something that can help us to keep going, that can kind of like fill us up on some level, that can maybe quench some level of thirst. But we're talking about the Nine of Wands also. This is like the wounded warrior. This is like, I've been through the battle, but I'm still standing and I live to fight another day. You know what I mean? Like, we can't give up. We may feel like we've really been through it, like it's just this never ending saga, but we've got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. We've got to keep moving forward, and we've got to remember like what we're fighting for, what we're moving towards, and why we're doing it. Again, on the back of the deck, we have the Three of Cups in reverse coming up first, followed by the Knight of Wands and the Eight of Pentacles. This, again, Three of Cups in reverse. This could be like cast out, rejection, not being accepted, some type of criticism, like people like making fun of us or not taking us seriously, like not wanting to be involved in whatever it is that we have going on. And it could literally have to do with like whatever passion or pursuit that we're moving towards, that we're working on, that we're inspired by, or something like that, being met with some type of negative reaction from maybe our peer group or social circle or network or community or partner, business partner, romantic partner, relationship, whatever. That could be, you know, kind of just like dampening our day, or throwing cold wet blanket on our sunshine, you know what I mean, like stamping out our fire or flame or something. But this is saying, you know, we have to keep going. Again, the Knight of Cups, like we have to keep moving forward, even if we need to fill ourselves up, even if it needs to be just the knowledge of the goal that we're moving towards, or what we're doing for ourselves, or the progress that we're making. We need to practice self-validation, I feel like this is saying in this energy, and not look for it from other people. You're probably not going to get the validation or the recognition or the even maybe like compassion or something, affection, something. You're probably not going to get it from like the external world in this energy. We need to be doing that for ourselves, and we need to be using that as the fuel that is helping us continue to move forward right now, even if, again, like It feels like it's never going to end. It feels like the deck is stacked against us. It feels like nothing's ever changing. Like we just keep going and going and going. But you know, this guy, like, yeah, he's battered and bruised and everything, but he's still looking up. He's still like able to see the bigger picture. And with the Eight of Pentacles here and also the Knight of Wands, what we're working towards, the goal and the worthy pursuit, you guys, like that needs to be what is giving us the sustenance to keep going, not what anybody else thinks or has to say or wants to make a comment on us about. Okay, so that's what I feel like is coming through in the context of the tarot message in alignment with the astrology right now. We're gonna get one more card right now, a synchronicity card, one final piece of guidance. Inspiration, God, Spirit, Universe. What is just a final piece of advice? We've got two cards coming out and we will read both of them. And they're both like really kind of touching on the same thing. They say, it's your attitude, okay? And you can only change yourself. It's your attitude. Straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Matthew 7:14. The only way you can alter outer conditions is to change your mental attitude. That is what we are being gifted with the aptitude and ability to do this week, you guys. That literally is like our escape from whatever it is that we could be coming up against. And we have it, okay? Mercury in Scorpio with the moon and with Saturn in the water trine, while we've got the square going on, that is the answer. That is our way out, okay? The only way you can alter outer conditions is to change your mental attitude. For harmony, peace, prosperity, and health, all the Libra stuff to enter your life, you must fill your subconscious, Pluto, with the understanding, Mercury and Scorpio, that all harmony, peace, abundance, and security is yours right now. So energy this week is helping us to alter our viewpoint, shift our attitude in a way that is helping us to make a breakthrough and restore something that may have been out of balance within us for a very long period of time. And then the second card literally plays right on this one. You can only change yourself, okay? Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Be an example for others. You cannot change others' behavior any other way except to show by good example what sort of things a good life can bring one. Forgive them for their failures, forgive them for their words, love them, and by your example show them the way. This is the only way except to pray for them, to know, and to follow your example. We're going to try not to let ourselves get sucked into any external drama this week, you guys. It is our job to like get our house in order, right? To get ourselves together. The best way that we can make an impact on the world around us is by leading through example. That is what these times are calling for anyways. And that is how we do our part. So that is what I have to say, you guys, for our video to open our week this week. Hoping for the best out there. If you guys liked the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you guys, share it with your friends if you think that they would also enjoy this type of astrology content. Leave me comments. I am so grateful for your contributions to my channel. I really appreciate when you guys share your experiences with me. It's very valuable to me to know what's going on with you out there, how these energies are playing out for you guys. If you are having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know in my comment section below. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group where I post images of these boards. You can find that in my description box below. And come back with me on Wednesday, you guys. We will of course have more energy to get into. We have the sun entering the sign of Scorpio. That is something that we'll be talking about on Wednesday. I will be back to do just that. We've got a lot more of this Scorpio energy to get into, so you should be here too. I will see you then, guys. Have a very beautiful introduction to your week, and until next time, bye.